Good morning. Good to have you with us as we kick off this holiday week. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off. We begin this hour here in New York. Today, the man accused of murdering UnitedHealthcare CEO is set to appear in court to face state charges. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is expected to be arraigned on a number of counts, including murder and terrorism. He's accused of gunning down healthcare executive Brian Thompson outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel earlier this month. This will be the first chance for Mangione's legal team to formally respond to the charges. He's been held in a Brooklyn jail since Thursday after he was extradited from Pennsylvania, which is where he was arrested. This New York case is running parallel to a separate federal case, which includes charges that carry the possibility of the death penalty. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson joins me now from outside that courthouse. Priscilla, good morning. We know this is expected to be a brief appearance, so tell us more about the charges that Mangione is now facing in New York and just what we can expect to see today.
Yeah, Joe, good morning. He is going to be arraigned today on those 11 New York State charges. That includes 1 count of murder in the first degree in furtherance of terrorism, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, and also a number of weapons charges. So today he'll have an opportunity to hear those charges, potentially plead to those charges. We expect that he'll plead not guilty based on what his attorneys have said. And then his defense attorney will have an opportunity to respond to those charges and begin to lay out her version of events in the case. Joe?
So, Priscilla, Mangione's attorneys are saying there's a conflict between these state charges and the federal charges. Talk to us about the special New York law that some of these charges were filed under and just what his sentence could be, how big it could be if he is ultimately convicted.
Yeah, so the federal charge is murder, but it also talks about stalking claims. Meanwhile, the state charges talk about murder and furtherance of terrorism, and they were able to charge that because of a 9/11 era law that says that that allows for stiffer sentences if a crime was committed in order to influence government or to terrorize civilians, and that is exactly what the Manhattan DA says that this crime has done. Take a listen.
This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. This was a killing that was intended to evoke terror.
Now, as you noted, Mangione's attorney has said that the state and the federal charges are in conflict with one another, that this is highly unusual. And she also says that those state terrorism charges, it is being overcharged, but that regardless, they do intend to fight all of it in whatever court they need to appear in.
I mean,
Joe?
Priscilla, when we look at the evidence from the surveillance video to a notebook the suspect allegedly had on him when he was arrested, there appears to be a lot of evidence in this case. What are some of the key items we could see presented in court? And just do we know when these cases are eventually expected to go to trial?
Right. And we did begin to hear more about that evidence last week when the federal complaint was unsealed, specifically about that notebook that was found on him when he was arrested, that it included a number of writings that talked about hostility towards the health insurance industry, specifically wealthy executives. There was also an entry in October, according to that complaint, where he talked about wanting to, quote, whack the CEO of a health insurance company when they were in New York at the investors conference. And then also, as you noted, new surveillance video showing him on the phone before this crime was committed. So a lot of questions about what may be on that cell phone and who he may have been talking to. Now, as for a timeline, the Manhattan District Attorney has said that the state the state case will go to trial first. Joe?
All right. Priscilla Thompson in New York. Priscilla, thank you. President-elect Trump took the stage on Sunday for his first rally-style event since winning the election. Mr. Trump spoke to supporters at a conservative convention in Arizona. He discussed a wide range of issues that he says he plans to address on day one of his presidency. NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist joins us now. Aaron, good morning. So among the topics discussed, this threat to retake the Panama Canal, which the U.S. turned over to Panama in 1999. Tell us more about that and some of the other things he discussed.
Yeah, it was an interesting part of the president-elect's speech that lasted more than an hour in Arizona yesterday. And this issue about the Panama Canal was something that he had posted about in his social media page. Look, the canal was built by the United States a long time ago. In the 70s, the U.S. And Panama signed a treaty that basically turned control of the canal over to Panama. from the United States. It's a major throughway for the U.S. Navy, for business entities as well. And the complaint from the president-elect is that Panama is charging what he called unfair rates for usage of the Panama Canal. And he said that if Panama didn't stop that he would take it back. He wanted the United States to take the canal back. The president of Panama himself actually issued a statement or posted on X last night saying that essentially that it's nonsense, that Panama owns the canal, and that that country's sovereignty is not up for negotiation. As you noted, there were other things the president-elect talked about in his speech. He said that on day one, he would start full operation of his team. Just hours after inauguration, he would sign executive orders to close the border, to begin deporting undocumented immigrants in this country. He would also sign an executive order to force people who are transgender out of the U.S. military. Joe, just some of the things that he says he'll get to work on immediately after taking office.
So, Aaron, this event came just days after Congress passed that spending bill, barely averting a government shutdown. And we know Mr. Trump's ally, Elon Musk, did play a role in actually trying to tank the bill. Tell us about some of the comments the president-elect made about Musk at this rally, and just this growing impression, even among Republicans, that the tech billionaire is the one running things.
Yeah, the president-elect didn't bring up the government shutdown or averting it. He did, however, bring up Elon Musk in his comments yesterday. And I want you to actually hear what he said about Musk. The core part of his comments about Musk, as you've been talking about, Democrats in particular accusing him, Elon Musk, and President Trump of sort of working together to tank the original deal that had been reached in the House to keep the government from shutting down. Here's President-elect Trump.
And we will create the new Department of Government Efficiency headed by Elon Musk. And no, he's not taking the presidency. The new one is President Trump has ceded the presidency to Elon Musk. No, that's not happening.
So Trump said that he likes Musk. He likes having him around. He believes he's a smart guy and thinks that he's a good advisor. Republicans also defended Elon Musk, saying that he used his social media platform, where we know he posted about the deal that had originally been reached in the House to keep the government open, that he used that platform to bring to light things that people weren't aware of. And to that end, they believe that he is helpful to Republicans to be able to shine that sort of a light on issues. But the level of control that he has in the party, at least in an official capacity, Joe, is something that Democrats are still questioning.
Aaron, let's talk about the 46th president. This morning, we're learning that in one of his final major acts, President Biden is commuting the death sentences of dozens of inmates. Tell us more about this.
Well, Joe, there are 40 inmates on the federal death row, and the President Biden decided to commute the sentences of 37 of those inmates effective this morning. And this is something that we thought might be coming. We know that the federal death penalty had been frozen essentially since 2021 at the advice of the Attorney General. And so no one had been executed in the United States on federal death row since then. And so with this commutation, the president released a statement saying that this is in line with his long-held belief that people on death row, murderers, all of these people who are currently on death row are murderers, should not be executed. He said that executions shouldn't happen except for in cases of terrorism and hate-motivated mass murder. We know the three people who will remain on death row, the Boston Marathon bomber, Dylan Ruth, the person responsible for the Mother Emanuel AME church shooting in South Carolina, as well as Robert Bowers, who committed the Tree of Life synagogue mass murder a couple of years ago. They remain on death row, Joe. And the president said that he wanted to make sure that he commuted those other 37 sentences before President-elect Trump could take office and force those executions to go through.
All right, a lot to cover from the current and the incoming president. Aaron Gilchrist, thank you very much. Millions of Americans are on the move this morning, driving and flying to get together with loved ones. But the temps are brutally cold. Add some snow and some ice, and many of you are dealing with hazardous travel conditions, making it even more challenging than usual to get home for the holidays. NBC News correspondent Emily Ikeda is in Secaucus, New Jersey. Emily, speak quickly and then get inside.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. You know what? Actually, the western half of the U.S. facing abnormally warm temperatures. But as you can see from my breath, a very different story for the East Coast with this bitter cold. It is the kind of cold, by the way, that causes technology and equipment to go awry. That's why I'm coming to you from my phone right now. But I still have my trusty thermometer here, which is telling us it is in the single digits here in Secaucus, New Jersey, just 9 degrees. And there's another winter blast still to come just as holiday travel ramps up.
This festive week getting off to a freezing start. Millions under alert for below average and bone-chilling temperatures. Parts of the Northeast even dipping below zero overnight after a blast of winter weather snarled travel from coast to coast. Satellites capturing sweeping snow across nearly all of the Northeast. Since Friday, travelers face more than 26,000 flight delays and cancellations.
It got canceled because of all the snow, and I actually just got the first flight back home in the morning.
The TSA says it is expected to screen some 40 million flyers between the run-up to Christmas and the trip home after New Year's Eve, up 6.2% from 2023.
It is really crowded in here with a lot of people.
Some desperate to get home for the holidays, giving trains a try. But critical Amtrak routes in the Northeast were delayed or canceled due to down power lines blocking tracks and unavailable equipment. At New York's Penn Station, snaking lines on Sunday.
They really choose Amtrak because you can count on the trains.
The vast majority of Americans heading to holiday celebrations by car. Treacherous driving conditions blamed for this crash outside Boston that took down utility lines. But one bright spot for many motorists, gas prices hovering around $3 a gallon nationwide. Now, with another round of frigid winter weather on the way, travelers hoping Mother Nature won't deliver more holiday headaches.
And we're going to see some of the heaviest traffic this afternoon on roadways like this, especially in major metropolitan areas like New York City, Boston, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. AAA says drivers could see times go up by 30%, and that's without throwing in winter weather in the mix.
All right,
Joe?
Emily, your phone, go warm up. Thank you so much. Back here in our nice warm studio, meteorologist Michelle Grossman is more on this wintry mix that might make some of those travel plans a little tricky. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Great to see you. Yeah, we're going to have some trouble spots, not just in the northern plains, the Great Lakes, the Northeast, also out west. We're looking at a series of systems that are going to move onshore over the next several days. That's going to bring some lower elevation rain and some higher elevation snow. So this is what radar looks like right now. You can see the blue falling. That's where the snow is falling throughout parts of the upper Midwest, over the Great Lakes. This is a quick hitter, though. Not a lot of moisture to work with. It's going to move through quickly and then move through quickly the Northeast tomorrow. In the west, we are looking at that blue, too. That is a higher elevation snow, seeing a wintry mix as well, and also some green. So the Intermountain West, really some tricky travel there today. And the west by tomorrow, we're looking at really active weather. Otherwise, we are relatively quiet. Could see a few showers in the Central Plains and portions of the Southern Plains by tomorrow. We do have winter alerts this morning. We have millions under winter alerts from Green Bay to Madison, Grand Rapids, Syracuse, New York, Burlington, Bangor, Maine, and then down to Philadelphia and D.C. as well. Could see some snow showers also in Elkins. So for the outlook for today, a pretty map, but we are looking at some pretty snow falling in some spots. Again, it's not going to be a ton of snow. It's going to be that pretty wintry, festive feel, but still causing some issues in the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest and northern plains, and then eventually into the Northeast. There's that tough travel in the Intermountain West that I showed you on radar. Really warm throughout the Southwest. If you're looking for warm weather, you have to head there because we are chilly in portions of the Southeast, especially into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, New England, very chilly. It's so frigid this morning, as we just saw where Emily was outside in Secaucus, but 28 degrees in Boston today. These are afternoon highs, 26 in New York City, well below freezing, and above freezing in D.C., but not by much at 38 degrees. So in terms of air, we are looking at certainly likely delays in Detroit, also Chicago, but looking good weather-wise at the airports for Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, D.C., also Minneapolis. The roadways where you expect where that snow is falling, parts of the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, we're looking at I-75, I-43 could be tough and slick in those areas. Then by tomorrow, Christmas Eve, notice the west. I mentioned that we're going to see the series of storms. It's going to be very unsettled there the next several days. So heavy rain, some snow as well from Washington all the way to California. And we're looking at some spotty showers in portions of the south central states, the Mississippi Valley. Notice these brighter colors here, that's where we could see some heavy rain. That'll slow us down, too, because rain does always slow us down. Could see a few showers in the Carolinas, a few showers in the mid-Atlantic. And we're also looking at that slick travel in parts of New England. Could see a wintry mix there as well, where we have that kind of warm layer. And then Christmas Eve, in terms of travel, we're looking at some likely delays in Boston, also in New York City. Christmas Eve, in terms of the roadways, we are looking at the I-95 corridor in some spots, also I-44 from St. Louis to Dallas and I-30 as well. The west, yes, you're going to be a mess there. Christmas Day, you're waking up to some white snow on the ground in portions of the Intermountain West, the Rockies, also the Pacific Northwest at higher elevation snow in the Cascades, the lower elevation rain. Crisp and clear, though, in the Northeast New England. Temperatures really chilly there, too, on Christmas Day, just above freezing in New York City. So you need the layers. Hopefully, you're going to be opening a box of some scarves, maybe a new coat, because you're going to need it. And there's that quick wintry blast today. The snow impacting the Great Lakes, also targeting the Ohio Valley, the Central Plains. And then by tomorrow, we're going to see a really quick blast of snow throughout the Northeast, parts of the Northeast, not all of it. And then that wet weather still in the plains.
They'll probably appreciate that tomorrow, I would think, as long as it's not too... Or they're sick of it. One or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like Friday, we had that snow. It was like, woo, it was great, but we're not sick of it.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, allegations by Blake Lively against her co-star in the movie It Ends With Us are sending shockwaves through Hollywood. In a complaint filed by Lively, she's accusing her co-star and director, Justin Baldoni, of sexual harassment and creating a hostile environment on the set of the movie. She also accuses him of leading a coordinated effort to try and destroy her reputation. Now the author whose book inspired the movie is speaking out. NBC News correspondent David Noriega reports.
Scandal rocking Hollywood as the fallout begins from Blake Lively's explosive allegations against co-star Justin Baldoni. Talent agency giant WME telling the New York Times it dropped Baldoni from its roster just one day after Lively filed a legal complaint accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation.
I want to see you again.
Now you see me.
You know what I mean.
Baldoni starred in and directed the box office hit It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence based on the best-selling book by romance novelist Colleen Hoover. Hoover herself coming out in support of Lively on social media this weekend, urging her to never change, never wilt. The allegations first made public in a New York Times investigation by Megan Twohey, whose reporting on sex abuse in Hollywood helped trigger the Me Too movement.
Why do you think it's important in this moment?
It's really a story that raises questions about the integrity and authenticity of the online narratives that exist today and to what extent they're being manipulated by people for hire.
The 80-page legal complaint, a precursor to a possible lawsuit, alleges in graphic detail harassment by Baldoni on the production set, including kissing and touching Lively in unwanted ways during filming, and repeatedly commenting on her appearance, weight, and sexual history. An attorney for Baldoni calling the allegations categorically false. Lively and Baldoni never promoted the film together after its release, sparking rumors of a feud, with Lively frequently coming under fire online.
I'm wondering if Blake is actually the problem.
Something she now alleges was the result of a smear campaign masterminded by Baldoni's crisis PR team.
This really reveals a new playbook. This raises questions about who else is sort of being targeted. I mean, to use their own language, they use the terms social manipulation.
The legal battle only beginning, the PR battle raging on. David Noriega, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.